up, Home Slices? It's Kiara with Home Slice Adulting, and I'm coming to you with my review for Love and Hip Hop Hollywood Season 4, Episode 11. So let's just get to it. So first we start off with Brooke and Boobie. Boobie takes Brooke on a picnic because things are starting to heat up a little bit between them. And Boobie says that the extent of his involvement with Hazel is basically her saying that she liked him. And that was it. We'll see. Anyways, apparently Brooke's phone is blowing up from all the people telling her about things that Hazel is doing on Twitter and other social media. So anyway, Boobie says, you know, you just gotta talk to Hazel in person because basically you can't find her over Twitter and social media. But anyways, Boobie invites her to hang out tonight, and she's like, no, I can't, you know, I gotta go hang out with the munchkin, aka her child. And it's like, how many people on these reality shows say, no, I can't hang out with you tonight because I have a kid at home? I feel like that's a first in Love and Hip Hop history. But okay. And because she couldn't go that night, he was like, well, I'm gonna invite you to Catalina. And it's like, you see what happens when you're a responsible mom? You get invited on overnight trips. That's great. Anyways, we see Hazel and Alexis Sky getting their vaginas steamed. And Alexis is over it with Masika. And, you know, she should be. It shouldn't have been anything to begin with or whatever. But anyway, Hazel says that she's putting Rose Burgundy on ice to pursue Boobie. And it's really weird that Hazel's mom knew anything about Boobie. That seemed very prompted to me, like her mom was prompted to mention Boobie to connect these storylines that necessarily weren't connected before. The issue is why is Hazel talking to her mom about Boobie if the extent of her involvement with Boobie was basically her saying that, hey, I like it. But we'll see. Anyways, Sky invites Hazel to hang out with Zell and her at a lesbian club. Hazel turns down the invitation, but we learn that Alexis Sky has dipped in the lady pond. So Hazel tells Alexis Sky about the issue that she has with Brooke at Boobie's house. And here we learn that Hazel claims that Brooke is the one who started the social media mess. And, whatever. There's a picture of Brooke wearing Hazel's shoes, basically saying, hey, I didn't have to save up my little $10. I got 2 pair for free. So basically they're just giving them away. But anyways, she says she's going to sit down with Brooke and that Brooke is riding her coattails. Whatever. You got to have coattails for somebody to be riding them, but whatever. Next we see Donatella and Zell and then AD and Alexis Sky at this lesbian club. And this is the second time that we're seeing Angel Gold and her manager, and I'm over it. I feel like they're trying to work them into something that they shouldn't be worked into. I wouldn't be surprised if she's a cast member on the next season, but let's wait till next season. But anyways, so we see Zell, who's trying to get paid, you know, to style Angel Gold. And from their conversation, it seems as if Masika is the person who referred Donatella to Angel Gold. And so, he's like, well, I'm not going to let Masika stop me from getting paid. So, he makes this, he and Donatella make this stupid statement. Okay, so I don't follow social media like that when it comes to the cast members of these reality shows that I watch, but I pray and I hope that all of the big girls of Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat and Facebook and all the other social media sites came down hard on Donatella and Zell for the little comment they made about some women's bodies not being made for fashion. I hope that somebody put them in their place, okay? Because fashion is made to fit people. People are not supposed to fit fashion. And this just goes into the whole body shaming and everything, and these aesthetics of what people are supposed to look like. It's all BS. So I hope that somebody put both of them in their place about that stupid comment, but whatever. So yeah, so eventually Zell stops messing with Donatella and he goes over to AD, and AD starts telling him about the problems that she's going through with Moniece and that we haven't been sleeping together and it's just stressful. And so Zell is like, forget about Moniece and let's just have fun. And so Zell's disloyalty, as he claims, stems from Moniece trying to get him to reconcile with Mr. Ray. And I feel like that's not a really good excuse. Wanting you to make up with somebody is not a reason for you to be like mad at him. So I'm going to call BS on that from Zell. But anyway, Alexis Sky shows up and she says, even though me and Moniece have squashed my beef, that's not going to stop me from trying to get her girlfriend. And I'm like, Alexis Sky, really? After the way you came down on Masika about having a baby with your ex-boyfriend? No way. That's not hypocritical at all. But anyways, AD justified the crap out of hanging out with Alexis Sky. You know, Moniece told me that they squashed her beat, so there's no problem with me hanging out with her and smacking butts and grinding and dry humping and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was just a whole crap fest of justification and stupidity. So we see Nikki and Chanel. Oh, Chanel thanks Nikki for helping her get over her beef with Hazel E. And so Chanel is like, you know, after the whole situation with Brooke, I am just so happy that I am on Hazel's side because she got them hands. And I'm like, when have we ever seen Hazel fight? We've seen her throw things. That does not count. We've seen her jump stupid after security gets in. But security typically doesn't let people get close enough to fight. So I've never seen Hazel fight. And I'm under the impression that Chanel hasn't. So I don't know where Chanel got that from. So that just shows me that she's like a lot more delusional than I thought she was. But whatever. So I've been trying to like Chanel, but she's making it very hard. So I think I can safely say that I'm not a fan of Chanel. Anyways, so Lelouch comes back into the picture. We haven't seen him for like 6 episodes. And so he apologizes about his baby mama to Nikki because his baby mama ruined her photo shoot. And Chanel talks about, you know, I already got a new baby. And she's like, I'm not going to give it away, but I have a sexy video, so you should just go watch the video, trying to get her views up on YouTube. And she invites both Nikki and Lelouch to her video release. And Safari shows up, and I'm like, oh, they're trying to work Safari back in after ignoring him for so long. But anyway, he shows up and he starts talking about how he used to be on Nikki or whatever. And Chanel says, you know, I can definitely hang out with Lelouch because he makes me laugh, and I'm just a sucker for guys who know how to make me laugh. And I'm like, have y'all seen Ridiculousness? This girl laughs at everything. So any man must be attracted to her. But anyway, he asked her out on a date in like no uncertain terms, and they decide to go bowling together. And so all 4 of them go out on a kind of a double date, and Nikki was like, you know, from here on out she should go on her first dates alone, because apparently Chanel asked Nikki and Safari to come on the date with her, but whatever. But she claims that she's not scared or anything. And Nikki says she thinks that Lucci is a little too hood for Chanel, and that's probably right. But Chanel starts talking about her music career. They talk about working together, her and Lelouch. And then she tells, you know, has some alternative facts about her disagreement with A1 when he shaded the crap out of her. So, according to A1's side of the story, he met her in person. She had some shades on. He asked to work with her, and she snubbed him, okay? But according to Chanel, A1 texted her, but her ex-boyfriend deleted the text. So she made up some alternative facts somewhere along the way. But whatever. And they talk about getting in the studio and he's sexually suggestive. Everything's bigger in Texas, whatever. Moving on. So we see Keyshia Cole and Boobie. They're shopping for their son's clothing, and she says she don't miss him at the house because he never took out the trash. Boobie tells Keyshia about his situation with Brooke Valentine and how he wants to take it slow, but that he doesn't want too much time to lapse to where he loses the opportunity. And he says, you know, I'm tired of doing things for play. I'm ready for something real. And so Keyshia seems really happy and really open and really receptive and not jealous, and doesn't have any negative feelings about him moving on with their life despite them not technically being divorced yet. And considering how she's been in multiple public relationships while they've been separated, she really can't be mad at it. But I find it interesting that they're able to talk about their love lives even though they're still married but separated for such a long time. It's actually kind of refreshing because bitter divorces are just really sad, and the fact that they kind of have a cool one is interesting. But anyways, he says, you know, I'm just, you know, trying to work on my music thing. And Keisha's like, well, you need to be trying to work on that basketball thing because that's what you're good at. So Keyshia is saying what the rest of the world is saying. Masika and Moniece talk about the little fight that Alexis had with them, and Moniece reveals that at some point during that exchange, Moniece was planning on sneaking a lick in as well, until she was knocked over by Zell. And so Masika is just over Zell, and she's like, he was homeless and he came here, you know, as a hobo riding a train, basically with his clothes inside of a hefty bag, and I made a way for him in Hollywood. And so she's saying, you know, Masika giveth and Masika taketh away. I can close all the doors that I open for him, and it's super easy. So anyways, Moniece finds out through Tiffany about Alexis Scott and AD grinding and dancing on each other at this lesbian club. And so Moniece is very upset about it. And she's like, all the stuff that Tiffany was saying, maybe there was actually something to it. So Moniece is real hurt about it, and later we see her confront AD. And we'll go ahead and talk about that now. So Moniece pops up on AD and she's like, you know, you're at my place of work, what's going on? And Moniece gets right to it and says, Tiffany sent me a video of you grinding on my former arch nemesis, and I've never done anything like that to you. What the hell is going on? And so AD says, you know, that video finally got your attention, okay? Because the last time we saw them have an argument, it was very calm. Moniece was very cool and collected, and she seemed unbothered to the point where she was like, we're not gonna get anywhere. Let's just revisit this conversation. So I think in AD's mind, the video got Moniece from unbothered to bothered, to the point where they're actually going to get some type of resolve from the situation, because if Moniece was not mad, she would just table the discussion until another time. But anyways, AD says that the only way that they'll be able to work it out is if AD moves out. But Moniece is pretty much hell-bent on AD still living with her, because she basically said if she moves out, the relationship is over with. And I don't know if that's a trust thing. I don't know if it's a manipulation thing. If she feels like, you know, if we don't live together, that opens the door for her to not be around me. So I can't see what she's doing 24/7. But, or if it's a thing where she needs to be living with me, not just so I can watch her every move, but so that I can have more input and influence over her life and be more controlling. So I don't know which way it is, or if it's both. But AD says, I don't feel important to you. You treat me like any person on this street, and Tiffany feels like you've been using me. And after taking a step outside of the relationship and really thinking about it, there may be some truth to what Tiffany is saying. And Moniece is like, well, it seemed like it was the other way around, that you were using me. But whatever. They have this argument, and AD says that Moniece and Tiffany put her in the middle. But I agree with Moniece that AD kind of put herself in the middle of that relationship. I mean, if you have two people that you love that don't really like each other, there's no use in you asking them to be in the same room together and be cordial. You have your time with your significant other, you have your time with your friend, and keep yourself out of the middle. or whatever. So AD says, I'm moving out regardless of whether or not our relationship ends or continues because of it, because I don't feel comfortable. And AD really shouldn't have to live in a place where she doesn't feel comfortable. She's changed a lot of things about herself. She went from bottle popping in the club to, you know, let's have a family with somebody else's kid. So AD is not having it, and AD basically kicks Moniece out of her place of business. So moving on, we see we're at Miss Diddy's party. Never heard of Miss Diddy. Apparently she runs the city more so than Hazel. Anyways, Miss Diddy is talking to Brooke, and she basically tells her, you're too grown to be acting like this. You guys need to talk. And I agree. So Marcus is talking to James in the party about his relationship with Bridget, and they're having a real bro heart to heart. And James says, you know, we got back together too fast. And Marcus is like, there's nothing wrong with saying I'm breaking up with you because I can't get over the fact that you cheated on me with multiple men. Which, you know, is true. If you can't get over that, you need to get over the relationship. But anyways, Brooke shows up and she tries to insert herself into that situation, like she has done so many times before. And Marcus and James are like, no, we're talking right now. And Marcus and Brooke start going back and forth so much that James gets uncomfortable and basically excuses himself so that they can talk anyway. So Marcus is in his feelings about how Brooke behaved, and Brooke is like, I'm sorry for the way I handled you, but I'm not sorry for what I did. Which is another one of those weird conundrums, like when she said, you know, Marcus is my life partner, but Booby is my soulmate. She has like some thoughts that are so deep that nobody can understand them. But whatever. So she says, yeah, Brooke seemed genuinely surprised that Bridget snitched. So I'm wondering if there's gonna be another girl fight somewhere up in there. But what I will say, I think I skipped over this part. Yeah, I skipped over the part where Marcus was in the studio with Bridget and he gave a song that he wrote for Brooke to Bridget. Mistake number one, mixing business with pleasure and letting your emotions get in the way of business. But anyways, Bridget sounds okay on the song. I think Brooke would have sounded better. Just saying. But Bridget is a good singer. I'm not going to take that away from her. But Bridget says, you know, she's having problems with James. And that's what James was talking to him about at Miss Diddy's party. And she's like, you know, I'm the only one that wants to try. And blah, blah, blah. And I want him to be my man and not my manager. But whatever. It's apparent to me that they don't speak the same love language. You know, his love language is where you are with me and only me, and her love language is where you're my main dude and I sleep with whoever I want. But anyways, Bridget, like I said, she snitches on Brooke, and Marcus shows Bridget that he had a ring for Brooke. And it was in this moment where I remembered what I said in my last review about about Bridget and Marcus having a relationship similar to Booby and Bridget. And it was this moment where he shows Bridget the ring and Bridget tells him to hold on to it for a little bit longer, that I realized that maybe their relationship is actually platonic and is not so similar to Brooke and Booby's. So yeah, so let's get back to Miss Diddy's party. And so we see, you know, Brooke and Marcus are still talking about it. And Marcus got a little bit emotional. He took his glasses off and he, you know, wiped a little starter tear. You know, the tear, when it starts to well up, you know, you wipe it before it falls. You know, that kind of thing. And they get really upset, and you can tell that they really care about each other. And essentially, what's going on is that Marcus's butt hurt because he got a taste of what Brooke was feeling when she found out that not only was he not married, but the paralegal who helped handle the divorce was somebody that he's been messing with for basically his whole relationship with Brooke. And Brooke's situation is, you know what? I'm confused, okay? your actions pushed me into the arms of somebody else. I can't do this right now. I'm too emotional. I gotta go. And so she leaves. So we see Brooke versus Hazel. They meet up and they fight almost immediately. Hazel shows up with bags and she's like, order whatever you want because the tab is on me because you're Brooke. And so Brooke's already not into it and she's like, we don't throw things, we throw hands. So she starts pulling stuff off the table so that Brooke can't throw them. I mean, so that Hazel can't throw them. But Hazel starts throwing stuff anyway. And so I really wanted them to, you know, meet up and fight. And Brooke was very ready. She almost knocked the white dude out of his chair. She was knocking over security guards and whatnot. But she never got to her. So that's very unfortunate. Hopefully something happens at the reunion because I'm ready to see Hazel catch the fade from somebody. But anyways, okay, the last scene, we see Zell is styling Angel Gold for a photo shoot, video shoot, not really sure what it is. Donatella shows up and says, did you not get my text, voicemail, and email about us not needing your services today? And Masika is there with a new stylist and Zell starts throwing shade and saying, you know, I was doing this pro bono since nobody told me about a budget. And so Zell is like, you know, Zell tells Donatella to shut up while he, you know, tries to hand Masika her life. And I feel like none of them really got the best of each other of that exchange. I feel like they both could have done a better job of shading each other. But basically they were just talking about who's on welfare, Section 8. Who's sleeping on somebody else's couch? Who helped who out in these streets to become what they are today? So she throws him Scooby snacks because he looks like a dog. And she was like, I'm throwing you these snacks because, you know, you're a dog and you're disloyal. And I'm like, hey, dogs are loyal, okay? Next time, y'all, I'm so excited. So excited because next time we see Fizz. I'm not excited about Bobby Brown. I feel like that's weird that he's even on this show. I don't know if he's looking for his 5 minutes. I don't know. But Fizz and Bobby, how do Fizz and Bobby Brown even know each other? Anyway, Fizz talks to Bobby Brown about getting B2K back together. And guess who we see? J-Bug, y'all. I don't know how many of you were teenage girls when B2K came out, but I was one, and J-Bug was my favorite. And I'm so excited to see him on the screen. And if B2K comes back, I will have to buy their album, even if it is crappy, just because of, you know, nostalgia and remembering who I was as a 14 or 15-year-old girl crushing on these dudes. So, was I 14 or 15? No, I was younger than that. But anyways, yeah, I was real happy to see J-Bug. Anyways, looking forward to that. So we see Hazel getting mad at Bowie because he says he never slept with her and he wouldn't touch her with a 10-foot pole. So she throws something on him and it looks like he tries to go after her, but we see what happens with that. So next we see that Lyrica and Hazel are talking, and from what I can gather, Lyrica tells Hazel that the track that she did with Ray J was because he lost a bet about the sperm count thing. And so I think Hazel is upset with Safari for dissing her rapping skills. But anyways, Zell and Alexis are about to make a diss record. I've heard a little bit of something about it, but I've never heard it. And considering how neither one of them are music artists, I'm betting that it's terrible. Anyways, James and Bridget, it sounds like they're about to break up because Bridget doesn't want to be punished for cheating on him with 10 men. And you know, she shouldn't have to be punished for that. When you take somebody back, you're supposed to really forgive them for it and not really bring it up anymore. You keep it in the back of your head just in case something starts to pop off that's very similar, but you don't hold it over their head. So it looks like they're about to break up. And so Brooke and Marcus seem to be mending their relationship. And Marcus is like, if you really want to be with me, you have to dead everything that you got going on with Boopie. And it looks like Brooke is going to do that. The editing was a little bit off though. So I feel like Marcus definitely demands that Brooke should break things off with Boopie, but I'm not sure if Brooke does. So we'll see how that goes. And in that situation, I'm kind of rooting for Marcus. because I feel like Boobie is like a little cornball a little bit. I don't know. I mean, life partner versus soulmate. How do you choose? Anyways, but I also wonder if Marcus is playing games with Brooke and is basically trying to get her to break everything off with Boobie so that when she comes back to Marcus, he can be like, nope, the same way that she was to him when he broke things off with Jade. So lastly, we see Chanel versus Alexis, and it's like, who freaking cares? If you're over it with Solo Lucci, then why do you care that he's with, you know, this girl, Chanel? Who cares? Like, that storyline, I feel like, nope, not gonna happen. Alright, y'all. So thank you guys for watching. I want to thank everybody who's been subscribing. I've been looking at my YouTube analytics, and I've had more people subscribe to my page in the past 28 days than I have ever had in the history of ever. Like, I feel like more people have subscribed in the past 28 days than have subscribed during the length of my channel, which has been almost a year now. So I really want to thank you guys for subscribing and continuing to watch. I thank you so very much. I will be doing some hair videos and some other things to come up, some more I Tried It's. It's just, I have 6 jobs and I get tired, you know, sometimes. It's a lot of stuff going on, but I will not forget about my YouTube channel. I want to thank all of you guys for subscribing, and peace out, home slices.